Every single city you're about to see is one event away from total collapse. You're watching footage of cities that millions of people call home. Cities with stadiums, theme parks, and coastlines people pay a fortune just to visit. But here's what most residents don't talk about, and what city planners quietly lose sleep over. Each of these places sits on a razor's edge. One hurricane, one earthquake, one storm. And the infrastructure, the emergency systems, the entire way of life. It doesn't just get tested, it gets destroyed. Tonight we're looking at 11 American cities that are, by every measurable standard, one disaster away from chaos. No countdown, no ranking, just the brutal, fascinating truth about where America is most vulnerable, and why these cities keep growing anyway. Let's dive into American cities one disaster away from chaos. Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida is a sun-soaked coastal metropolis with a population of roughly 450,000 in the city proper and over 2.7 million in the greater metro area. Known globally for its Art Deco architecture, a vibrant nightlife, and stunning beaches, Miami sits at the southern tip of the Florida peninsula. And that location is exactly what makes it so dangerous. The city is largely low-lying, with much of its land hovering just a few feet above sea level. FEMA consistently flags Miami as one of the most hurricane-exposed cities in the entire country, facing combined threats from storm surges, inland flooding, and lightning strikes at rates few other cities match. In 2017, Hurricane Irma made landfall and caused an estimated $50 billion in damage across Florida, with Miami suffering widespread flooding, power outages lasting weeks, and infrastructure damage that took months to repair. Sea level projections suggest the threat is only going to get worse. New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans, Louisiana is one of the most culturally rich cities in America, home to jazz, Mardi Gras, and a culinary scene that draws visitors from around the world. The city's population sits at roughly 380,000, and its identity is deeply tied to the land it was built on. The problem is that land is sinking. Much of New Orleans sits below sea level, held together by an aging network of levees and pumping systems that were never designed for the scale of storms now hitting the Gulf Coast. Studies estimate that by 2050, nearly 99% of homes in the city could fall within a 100-year floodplain. The most devastating proof of what happens when this system fails came in 2005, when Hurricane Katrina breached the levees and flooded approximately 80% of the city, displacing over 1 million people and claiming more than 1,800 lives in one of the deadliest natural disasters in modern American history. Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas is the fourth largest city in the United States, with a metro population exceeding 7 million people. It is the energy capital of the country, home to NASA's Mission Control, and a sprawling urban landscape that stretches in every direction. That sprawl is part of the problem. Decades of rapid development have paved over vast stretches of natural wetlands and prairies that once absorbed rainwater, turning the ground into an impervious surface that channels water straight into neighborhoods. Houston has no formal zoning code, one of the few major American cities without one, meaning flood-prone land has been developed at an alarming rate. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey stalled over the city for days, dropping over 60 inches of rain in some areas and causing catastrophic flooding that submerged entire neighborhoods, displaced an estimated 30,000 people, and caused roughly $125 billion in damage, making it one of the costliest natural disasters in U.S. history. Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston, South Carolina is a historic port city with a population of around 150,000, famous for its antebellum architecture, cobblestone streets, and position as one of the oldest cities in the American South. It sits on a peninsula where the Ashley and Cooper rivers meet the Atlantic Ocean, a location that made it a vital trade hub centuries ago and now makes it one of the most flood-prone cities on the East Coast. Charleston experiences what locals call nuisance flooding, where even moderate tides or light rain can push water into the streets of the historic district. Coastal erosion is actively eating away at the shoreline, and rising sea levels are accelerating the problem. In 2015, a historic rainfall event dumped over 20 inches of rain on the city in a single storm, flooding neighborhoods, collapsing roads, and causing over $1.4 billion in damage. A sobering preview of what a full-force hurricane would do. Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles, California is one of the most iconic cities on Earth, a sprawling mega metropolis of nearly 4 million people, known for Hollywood, its beaches, and a lifestyle built around endless sunshine. But FEMA has consistently ranked Los Angeles County as the single riskiest county in the entire country, and the reason is a deadly combination that no other major city quite matches. The region sits on top of some of the most active fault lines in North America, making it a prime target for high-magnitude earthquakes. At the same time, dry Santa Ana winds and drought-prone hillsides create conditions for devastating wildfires that can ignite with almost no warning. In January 2025, a series of wildfires swept through the Los Angeles area, burning over 40,000 acres, destroying thousands of structures and forcing mass evacuations. A stark reminder that in LA, the ground and the air are both working against you. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma is a sprawling mid-continent capital with a population of roughly 680,000, known for its role as an energy hub, its National Western Cowboy Museum, and its deep-rooted connection to American Plains culture. It also sits directly in the heart of Tornado Alley, a broad stretch of the central United States where dry Arctic air collides with warm, moist Gulf air to produce some of the most violent tornado activity on the planet. Oklahoma City ranks among the highest in the country for both tornado frequency and severe hail events, with hailstorms causing hundreds of millions in annual damage to vehicles, rooftops, and crops. In May 2013, a massive EF5 tornado, the highest rating on the scale, struck the suburb of Moore just south of the city, traveling a mile wide and destroying entire neighborhoods, killing 24 people and causing over $2 billion in damage in a single afternoon. Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas is one of the fastest growing cities in the Sun Belt, with a metro population pushing past 8 million people. It is a major financial and corporate center, home to professional sports teams, a booming tech industry, and a skyline that has transformed dramatically over the past 2 decades. But despite its inland location, and which might suggest safety from coastal storms, Dallas faces a surprisingly brutal natural disaster profile. The city ranks among the highest in the country for annual expected losses from severe weather, driven primarily by extreme hail, tornadoes, and punishing heat waves that push summer temperatures well past 100 degrees for weeks at a time. In April 2024, a powerful storm system tore through the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, spawning multiple tornadoes, producing baseball-sized hail and causing widespread destruction across suburbs. A reminder that being in the interior of the country offers far less protection than most people assume. Chicago, Illinois. Chicago, Illinois is one of America's most iconic cities. A skyline defined by architectural innovation, a population of roughly 2.7 million in the city proper, and a cultural identity built on jazz, deep dish pizza, and a fierce sense of civic pride. But beneath that reputation, Chicago has quietly earned a grim distinction. It is listed as the most disaster-prone major center in the entire Midwest. The city faces brutal climate extremes, bitter polar vortex winters that have killed dozens in a single cold snap, and increasingly severe summer heat waves that strain the power grid and endanger vulnerable populations. Researchers have warned that by 2040, Chicago could face what they describe as unlivable conditions, driven by water-related stressors and wild temperature swings. In 1995, a heat wave swept through the city, pushing temperatures above 100 degrees for nearly a week straight, and claiming an estimated 739 lives, one of the deadliest heat events in modern American history. Virginia Beach, Virginia. Virginia Beach, Virginia is the largest city by area in the Commonwealth of Virginia, with a population of roughly 460,000. It is known for its long stretch of public beach, its naval military presence, home to the largest naval base in the world, and a relatively suburban, family-oriented lifestyle. But its position on the Atlantic coast makes it a sitting target for a range of serious threats. The city faces recurring risks from hurricanes and tornadoes, and has been specifically identified by meteorologists as a major impact zone for bomb cyclones, rapidly intensifying storms that can bring devastating winds and coastal flooding with very little warning. In September 2019, Hurricane Dorian passed just offshore, and while it did not make direct landfall, it still produced damaging winds, storm surge, and flooding along the Virginia Beach coastline. A close call that reminded residents exactly how little margin for error their geography allows. San Francisco, California. San Francisco, California is one of the most recognizable cities in the world. A compact, hilly city of roughly 870,000 people, famous for the Golden Gate Bridge, its role as the birthplace of the tech industry, and a culture of innovation that has shaped modern America. But the city is built on one of the most seismically active regions on the planet. San Francisco sits near the San Andreas Fault and several other major fault lines, making a significant earthquake not a matter of if, but when. The city also faces serious air quality threats from regional wildfires, which in recent years have turned the sky an eerie orange and forced residents indoors for weeks at a time. The most haunting historical reminder of what's at stake came in 1989, when the Loma Prieta earthquake struck with a magnitude of 6.9, collapsing highways, destroying buildings, and killing 63 people, all in 15 seconds. Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario, California. The Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario metro area, often called the Inland Empire, stretches across Southern California with a combined population of over 4.6 million people. It is a sprawling, sun-drenched region known for its affordable housing relative to coastal California, its agricultural roots, and a way of life built around open space and suburban expansion. But beneath that landscape lies one of the most dangerous geological and environmental profiles in the country. The region sits directly on the San Andreas Fault, the same massive rupture line that has produced some of California's most devastating earthquakes. It also ranks among the highest in the nation for wildfire risk, with dry chaparral-covered hills that ignite rapidly during Santa Ana wind events. In 2020, the Valley Fire burned over 28,000 acres near the community of San Bernardino, destroying homes, forcing tens of thousands to evacuate, and serving as a stark reminder that this region faces threats from both the ground and the sky simultaneously. 11 cities, millions of people, and every single one of them is sitting on a fault line, a floodplain, a fire corridor, or a storm path. Sometimes more than one at the same time. These aren't hypothetical risks. They are active, ongoing, and in most cases, getting worse. If this is the kind of story that keeps you up at night, or at the very least makes you think twice about where you live, make sure to click on "These U.S. towns are small, silent, and terrifying," and step into the shadows most people drive past without ever realizing what's really there. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and keep exploring the strange side of our world with Oddly Abroad.